Okay, great. Well, welcome everyone. I am so excited to be here with you today, and I have brought along a very special guest. Her name is Tammy, and she is the owner of Evolve Retreats.
Hello.
And yeah, hello. So excited to have you here. We decided to hop on a call together and record it so we could show you a little bit of the behind the scenes of the prep that's going into and the excitement that's going into the Radiant Return Retreat, which is a glow getters retreat, meaning that it's those of us who are searching radiance, those who are searching for a reconnection to self. And so I'm really excited to have Tammy here. We're going to be talking a lot about the property, which is the Palmaia Resort in Playa del Carmen. This retreat is happening November 8th through the 11th of this year, 2025. And we are going to be putting some links when we post this video. There'll be plenty of links and ways for you to get in contact with us, ways for you to book if you're ready to jump in, or you can schedule a call with either one of us to get more information. So, Tammy, I'm going to let you hop on now and just, add whatever you feel you want, ask me some questions, and we'll just dive in together.
Yeah, so first, thanks, Karen, so much for doing the work that you do for women because we're all kind of in this place wondering, like, why don't we feel well? What are we doing now that our kids are gone? Like, all
Yeah.
kinds of purposeful things that we're all sort of searching for. And I think finding that in community and being led by you, an expert at this, in this area, and just kind of helping us feel like vibrancy again, connection again, and really focus again. I think that those are all really great things we're going to be covering on the retreat. As far as Palmaia is concerned, it is a wellness destination right outside of the Riviera Maya, so it's in Playa del Carmen. It's a fairly new resort, like maybe 5, 6 years, but
Mm.
it's really focused on wellness. So we get to partake in things like sound healing and daily yoga classes and different things that the hotel does to help promote wellness to its current guests that are staying there, which of course will be part of our retreat as well.
Yeah.
Their vegetarian cuisine is incredible, although they do have meat options as well. I have meat and fish all the time when I'm there. And
Mhm.
it's really just a great, just a great destination for wellness. I think not only is it super luxurious and beautiful sitting on the beach, but it's just calming and soothing, and I think exactly what we need for this kind of a retreat.
Yes. I really love all the different spaces that we can inhabit. All of the different palapas and the outdoor
Yeah.
spaces and the sound, and right on the sand and in the trees. And it's just, I'm so excited. And I'm also excited about the cenotes
Yes.
too, that the 4 different private cenotes that you can explore. All of that is just a huge part of it for me too.
Mhm. Absolutely. Yeah, and the spa treatments, the spa is incredible.
Yes.
Yeah, like you really feel like even though you're just steps away from where your room is located, you just feel like you're sort of stepped into nature. It's kind of jungly, but not really. I mean, you're right. You do have these private palapas where we're able to just sit in total privacy, and do yoga and talk and just kind of share space that's just ours as a group. So I
Yeah.
think people are going to be very well surprised at that. And the fact that people are really there for wellness, they're there to connect with nature, to sort of get back to themselves. It's really just a great little space for us to be able to do this kind of work. So I'm so excited that you're leading it. I think it would be fun to kind of learn a little bit about how you got started doing this, and was it something that you went through personally, or how did this sort of become your life's work, and why are
Yeah.
you bringing this group of women together?
Yes, great questions. So I was a professional dancer and teacher for the last 15 years. And when COVID hit, well, also I should say simultaneously over the last maybe 10 years, I was going through my own perimenopause journey and didn't really recognize it or know that it was that. I just could feel things were shifting. And so then once that started happening and then COVID hit and the dance studios were all closed, I found myself wanting to search for answers for my own personal health, but also to search for a method of medicine or something that could give me some answers on how to use natural remedies in my life. I have my degree, my bachelor's degree is in botany of all things.
Oh, goodness.
I know. And then I ended up doing my studies in Arizona with a woman named Phyllis Hogan, who is a woman who categorizes all of the native medicines for the Navajo and Diné and Hopi tribes in Arizona. So that was my education in college. So then I was like, I think I'm a dancer. I'm going to go to New York. And I like had this whole other life. And then when I moved to Seattle and I had been working at a dance studio, you know, the physical symptoms I started having were hot flashes, fatigue, the mood swings, all of it started kind of crashing down on me. And then I decided to look into it a little deeper and ended up finding Ayurveda during COVID because I was searching for like, I think, immunity recipes like the rest of the world, right? And ended up watching this Ayurvedic workshop, and it told me to drink this tea that was like turmeric root and ginger root and lemon and black pepper. And I just made it for like 7 days. And I was like, whatever, I can try this. I can do this. The grocery stores are still open, right, during COVID. And drank that tea. And I ended up having this little wart that was on my finger that completely disappeared after drinking that tea for 7 days. Like I had been carrying it around for me for probably a decade, and it was gone after a week of drinking that. Exactly. And I was like, what kind of magic is this? Like I knew herbs were powerful because of my training, but I really didn't know about Ayurveda at all. I'd never heard that word. I didn't even know how to spell it or say it. I had to really look into it deeper to even see what it was. And then I ended up finding, as it is, you know, you get these sponsored ads when you start searching for things. And I got a sponsored ad from Maharishi University, International University in Iowa, and they offered master's degrees in Ayurveda. And I was like, what else am I going to do during COVID when I can't teach dance? I can't perform dance. And I'm also a DJ, so I can't DJ in the clubs. Like I couldn't do anything during COVID. So I was like, well, I'm going to get my master's degree. So I ended up getting my master's degree in Ayurveda. And simultaneously, I also had to be a student, and I had to be an example when we would be at clinicals. You'd go up with your professors and they would take our pulse and use us as examples for the rest of our class as sort of riddles to solve, right? Because that's what Ayurveda is. You feel the pulse, you understand what organ systems need support, and then you find a way to support it. Like, what herbs can I support it with? What behaviors is this person doing that's causing their discomfort? What, you know, thoughts are they continuing to think all the time that are making them feel so out of sorts, right? So then I started to see, as I was studying it, how it was improving my life. My hot flashes went away once I realized that my gut was out of balance. It was my gut health. It was those years of stressing my body, pushing the limits, working too much. Like I had pushed my gut. I was not pooping well. Like it was not, I don't want to go into it here, but it was not
Not worth
ideal.
it for you.
It was not ideal. And so then to feel that way and then look back and go, oh my God, it was happening. If I had known that information, maybe in my early 30s or even early 40s for women who were going through it later, or I should say, I went through it early. Most women go through it in their 50s, but I went through it early. But I felt this immense, like sense of duty to share the information because I was like,
No
oh my
kidding.
God, what? Like this works like this? Like, and it's not overnight and it wasn't super quick and it took me many years and I'm still working on things. I'm 5 years past menopause now and I'm still struggling with sleep and, you know, waking, even with my best Ayurvedic. So it's not like this magic thing, and it's not a one size fits all for everybody. So that's why I like doing this work in retreat settings. So what ended up happening was I met a person in my studies who lives here. I live in Placencia, Belize. I didn't mention that, but I live in Belize. And I met a woman who lived here in my studies, and she was like, you should come down and visit. And I was like, I'll be there next month. Like, boop, boop, boop. Like, here I am. I showed up. And then I did it again the next year, and we ended up doing a retreat together. And at that retreat, I was called it the return to self was the
Good
name.
name.
So the return theory is kind of coming through, but Return to self. And it was 5 women that came, and some of them were Belizeans, some of them were expats. And they're still my clients today, and they're still in my life today. And I saw how impactful that experience was. It wasn't even overnight. It was just people who lived here in Placencia or people who lived in Belize. So it was for locals. We didn't do any overnight stay. It was really just us like doing yoga and learning and making herbal remedies. So then I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to move down here. And so I did last. So it's coming up on a year anniversary. And I'm so proud of myself for doing this super hard thing, but I
Yeah.
also feel really passionate about being here because this is a healing place. The ocean is so healing, and the fruits and the trees and the herbs that we have here are some of the most power anti-cancer, antioxidant having plants on the planet, right? So for me as a person, I was like, well, of course I'm going to go there. The food's fresh, the water's fresher. Um, we'll sidestep the political climate conversation, but that was a factor. And then, then I realized, well, what if I could bring women down and create an event that, to me, I've never seen an event like this before, where you can do energetic movement in the morning, learn some about Ayurveda, have a 4-hour break to do whatever you want,
Hmm.
and then get together in the afternoon, have another movement session that's, more calming, yin yoga, meditation, breath work. And then also I'm a DJ. So like we'll do, last the night of the events, we'll get together and have a party on the beach. Palmaia has this amazing club that's right there in the sand. It's gorgeous and lit with all these beautiful lights. So we're going to gather in community in lots of different ways because that's what my skill set is. I'm a dance teacher. I'm a performer. I'm a community builder at heart. And when I did this workshop for free in February, it was called the Glow Getters Menopause Workshop. And during that workshop, the women were like, this is so great. We love being in community and talking about our poop and our periods and our boobs. And like, we love this, right? And I was like, I know, right? Like, we should do this at a retreat, right? And so I was like, okay, Radiant Return, a Glow Getters Retreat is the name of this event because it really truly is our chance to come back to the information that we really know inherently. It's our intuition is stronger than any other doctor's advice,
Yeah.
but it takes a team of people to support you. And that doesn't just mean one doctor. It can mean, an Ayurvedic practitioner like myself, where I help sort of give my clients the big picture overview and I give them non-negotiables. For example, one of my clients, her 4 non-negotiables that she has to do every day, or else she knows she's going to go out of balance, is she has to meditate. She needs to scrape her tongue every day because that tells you a lot about your digestion. She needs to cook for herself, and she needs to make time for herself. And so every time we come together and we reconnect in our appointments, we check in, like, how are you pooping? How many days has it been since you've been constipated? Any? And like one time we got together and she had like 370 days of pooping every day. And we had this like poop celebration, right? Because it's like, how often do we talk about that
Yeah.
stuff? We don't talk about it with our doctors usually. At least, I typically don't have enough time in my doctor's appointments to talk about
Right.
that kind of stuff, right? So what I love about what I do is I give my clients the space to fully see their whole selves. It's holistic, right? That's in the name, but like really to get to see their whole picture and go, oh, right, right, right. Maybe I do watch screens until the very last minute I go to sleep. And
Yeah.
maybe I am eating super late, and maybe I skip meals completely. And some days I don't poop at all. Oh my gosh. And maybe haven't even thought about how I sleep, right? And so we offer or I guess we search out coaching service in lots of different ways in our lives. We
Right.
buy a house without a realtor usually, right? We wouldn't go through a lawsuit without a lawyer, but for some reason when we reach out for coaching or, therapy or wellness coaching, it can feel a little like we don't really deserve it, but we absolutely do. And I think these kinds of actions are preventative. So that way we don't have to go to the doctor as much. And we don't
Yeah.
we don't have to feel like menopause or any transition that we're encountering has to be so insurmountable, you know? And that was kind of a long answer to your question, but
No, I love it though. It is. It's so, I don't know, it is so interesting for people to stop and think and not sometimes not think traditional methods, but other things
right,
that could be going on. You were just reading an article today about that and how your doctor's not addressing some of the things that are happening in your life, like maybe I am in menopause very early, or I just went through the death of X, or something happened to
right,
me that was really traumatizing, or whatever it is. Those things affect your health, or I'm in a very high stress place right now. Um,
yes,
I'm becoming an empty nester, whatever that looks like sometimes we don't have those conversations, and we only can really have those in community, and also when we stop and slow down, which we
right.
often don't do. So
We
I
often
think
don't.
that retreats are a really great setting for things like that, and this one in particular with women that are all in the same place. I just think it's just such a magical thing because so many people are feeling um, things that we never know or we never see about each other.
Totally. And for a lot of women, especially, I'm just turned 49 and I had my last period at 44. But most women are usually in that like 45 to 51 range. But I will say that more and more because of the stress levels, all the things you just mentioned, the food quality, the
Yes.
environmental stressors, pollution, water quality, all kinds of things make our generation the first to be creeping and creeping earlier and earlier in our lives. So for the first time ever, our moms might be like, well, I didn't go through it until I was 51. It's like, well, but you were eating food that wasn't treated with chemicals like we are, or you were, XYZ, right? So I think that is important for women to know that, like, some of them think like menopause, that's like old lady stuff, right? And it's like, actually,
Oh,
no. A lot of women start feeling perimenopause symptoms starting at 33, 35.
wow. Yeah.
No, right? And it can be 10 years before you actually stop producing eggs, right? And so
Wow.
that's that's not something that would be the top of mind for most women.
Exactly. Like you might not even think that that's what it is.
No, right,
Mhm.
right. Yeah, and so that again, I think is super important. And like in my family, my mom wasn't talking to me a lot about this stuff. She
No.
wasn't told about it, but she wasn't taught how to speak about this in a or her because her mom wasn't or her grandparents, right? So this resurgence, I love seeing all this, like all these Instagram channels surrounding menopause and people are talking about it more and more. And I really love that. And I think it's time that we take it into the retreat space where it can be held for several days. Yeah. Like this last one that I
Absolutely.
did was a single overnight here in Belize. And we left the next day and we were just like, but I just got to know you. Like, it just didn't feel like long enough. So I'm excited that I think 3 nights is the perfect amount of time. It kind of fits in your life right before the holidays come, which is why we scheduled it that way.
Yes, yes, yes. And you can stay extra nights too.
Yes, yes, yes. And the ocean is so beautiful there. And the thing that I love about Palmaia too is that it's a private property. So if you've ever been to Playa del Carmen before, you know that there's stretches of multiple resorts sort of stacked along each other, but this is not the case there. This is sort of a very unique
Very true.
property.
Hmm.
And I think that is a big selling point, even for me as just wanting to go there as a person, much less a retreat leader. I'm like, ooh, cenotes, and I don't have to take a tour off the property. Like,
Yeah,
yes,
I know. So great.
yes, yes, yes. Well, I also wanted to say on this while we're together that for those of you who haven't checked it out yet, on the sales page, I've listed a link to my free menopause guide, which is something that I put together, all the information that I wish I had before I was going through it from an Ayurvedic perspective. So we'll put the links to the sales page, of course, all over this content, so you'll be able to find it. But at the very least, you should pop on and download that free guide because there is a lot of good information in there that I think would help. And I also wanted to say I've had some women reach out and say, I'm not in menopause or I'm past it, or I'm nowhere near it. And to that, I say, yes, come anyway, because you're going to go through menopause eventually. And even if you're past it, this is skills for longevity that we're talking about here, right? It's not
Yeah.
just one small little transition in your life. Like these skills will help us live longer, healthier, happier, more emotionally balanced lives. And I'm saying it from experience. I'm not just sort of blowing those words out into the wind. Those literally were the results that I experienced after integrating some of these things into my life. And it's simple. It's like knowing what herbs to use in your foods and knowing when to eat your biggest meal of the day according to your body type.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and there's so much, that's the thing, it's like different for every person. And I think that super important. So
I
having
know.
this interaction where we're all kind of comparing, like, well, I feel this way then, and this, like, all of
Yeah.
the things, it's not a one size fits all kind of a thing. And that's why sharing stories and connecting um are everything. I think that it's just so important.
Yes, I so agree. And to do it in luxury, like, come on, like all your meals included, and you don't even have to even worry about what you're going to
Mhm.
eat, when you're going to do it. Like the itinerary is all set. If you bring someone that you want to share a room with, you get a discount.
Thanks.
So bring your
Mhm.
besties and share it
Yeah.
with the women that you care about, that you'd love to have live longer. That's a nice gift.
So true.
Right.
So true.
And because we also had someone who just booked yesterday, I have space for 5 total people to have free Ayurvedic sessions with me while we're there
Great.
on site, which
So two more.
yeah. So you'll get your pulse read by me, then we'll talk through what your body type is, and you'll make sure that you have a healing plan. You'll learn some of those things anyway by coming to the retreat, but this will be a chance for us to have some private time. So there's 2 more spaces available for that, which I'm so excited to offer because living in Belize, most of my clients I'm usually online with. So to have some time to be like, okay, we're in person now. Here we go. We get to pull out the big guns. That's exciting.
Yeah, amazing. It's going to be great. Yeah. So, anyone that's interested in learning more information, evolveretreats.co is where Karen's retreat sits. There's lots of different ones, but hers is on her own private page. And it's there for everyone to kind of take a look at the itinerary and the things that we're going to do together. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah, I'm excited. And if you have questions about, we do offer payment plans. So if you have
Yes.
questions about the details like accommodations, where you staying, how are you going to get there, any of those logistic questions, those would go to Tammy. Or if you're want more understanding around what Ayurveda could maybe do to you, do for you, do to you, do for you, how that process could work for your unique situation, you can reach out to either one of us and we'd be more than happy to talk to you about it.
Yes, absolutely. We'd love to. Karen knows obviously everything about her program. I know a lot about the resort because I've been, so we're both great in terms of information on anything that you might need to know. But yeah, join us. It's going to be amazing, and we're so excited to be hosting again. Yes, right before the holidays when we all need it. It's a great timing wise. It's where we all go into like the whole oh God, time frame. So do this for yourself, like I just really encourage women to take a moment and learn from each other and be in a beautiful setting. It'll give you all the strength and power you need to get through the holidays and then start your new year off right with a lot of really good information.
Yes. Yeah. And our goal here is for you to have, information to sustain you long after the retreat ends. So it's not like you leave the retreat,
Yes,
you're
for
like,
sure.
hi, right? We
Yeah.
want to make sure that you are, feel like we have a healing plan that we create together that's based on your unique situation. And that is difficult to get, in other spaces, especially from your doctors or other medical professionals where that holistic may not be the focus. So that's why this is going to be so special. I'm so excited.
I know, I know, I know, I know. And it's gonna come fast.
I
So make
know.
sure you sign
Yeah,
up.
yeah, that's so true.
Yeah.
Oh, this has been so great.
Time
Thank you so
goes.
much, Tammy, for your time.
Oh, thank you, Karen. Yeah, so fun learning your whole backstory. I hadn't really heard that before, so I'm
Yeah.
encouraged and excited
So
to
crazy.
share your gifts with women who need it.
Yes, thank you so much. I'll see you
Thank
soon.
you. All right, sounds good. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.